Hi, this is the authors of Growing Up Aspen have started a second season podcast called Movie Chat, where we talk with some of our fellow students in the industry and talk about films and all kinds of fun things. Today we are here with Ben Ball, who is an environmental designer, sculpturist, and has did a little stint with movie set designs and worked on The Matrix. So let's catch up with Ben.
That sounds cool. And how about you?
I hate to say it, but I'm playing with AI and doing music videos. I
Yeah.
feel like, well, with AI, it's such a big thing about copyright and infringement and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like with music videos, you're doing them real quick and then they go out and get published. You know what I mean? So it's a copyright isn't really ever an issue. And then with you're not selling anything, you're just showing stuff. So it's not like you have to really worry about stuff. So I feel like it's a good opportunity to let me play with the tools that are out there because some of the tools now are going to be where you're going to be able to have your own AI machine and no one else has access to that. So everything you're training it on, you can use. So if you're building a TV show or a series, you can train it, you can set it up, you can do everything you want. And then the next thing you do is all you're doing is throwing in scripts and maybe new motion capture libraries, but that's about it. And so it gets easier and easier and easier to do your series as it gets longer, whereas usually it gets longer and harder and all that kind of stuff. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's carry on a series for 6 years is a real big deal. But when you're using AI as a machine, all of a sudden it's just script writers and getting a good script. I mean, yes, you need some people to go in there and make sure the visuals work, but you're not talking teams of, you know, 50 CG folks or 100 CG folks. You're talking maybe what, five, you know?
Sure, sure. Are you doing this through as Happy Trails animation?
Right now,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
And they're music videos for
yeah.
bands that you know or music
The
musicians that you know?
band that came to me, his name is Freeze Machine, or the band is called Freeze Machine. Sounds very much sort of like early Green Day.
Okay.
So not quite punk and it's not quite a hair band. It's kind of, you know what I mean? I would,
Pop punk?
well, they're in the heavy metal thrash realm, but they're
Okay.
not. It's more like what I would say Green Day is. So it sort of fits in that because it's, what it is Headbangers Ball at MTV is doing something new. They're bringing back sort of the headbanger stuff, but they're bringing it back
Okay.
head uh, thrashing metal madness or something like that. And so they're putting in not just old bands, but also new bands that fit in that style. And since we're in today and it's so fusion oriented, I think we're getting mixed into it, which is great.
Is what is MTV doing? I mean, MTV doesn't show music videos
They
anymore.
They,
started they started doing it again, dude.
I think what they lost was the connection with the music industry and all the reps because they basically were commercials for all selling albums and everything. And now they just went to shows and reality stuff. So I think they're trying to bring that back to tie into the music industry a little bit more.
I
Um,
see.
but I'm
Well,
not
they
sure. I
mean,
mean, they're starting to bring those programs back.
they started to lose their audience
Yeah,
for music videos in the I don't know, early
90s.
aughts, late '90s, mid '90s, late
Yeah.
'90s. I mean, I have a friend who produced um, created the show Road Rules, and he was one of the first people that were doing kind of reality, situational reality TV um, on MTV, and I remember it feeling like, oh, this is a really weird idea. This kind of unscripted stuff. And you know, 30 years later, look what's going on.
Well,
I mean,
it's
look
Well,
what
that and
happened.
cops,
well,
Andy, you had to.
that's what I was
Yeah,
about to say.
Cops was the early one. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
friend was the producer of Cops and really was the creative behind it and started. It was his production company. He started
Uh-huh.
as a cinematographer for Geraldo Rivera.
Oh
So
God.
yeah, he kind of comes from that perspective. In fact, Oliver Stone hired him to produce the intro show for Robert Downey Jr. and Natural Born Killers.
Okay.
And since
Right.
Will Bennis was tearing his house apart and doing his whole DIY on his house remodel himself, it looked like a drug house. And they were like, we need to find a drug house where we can go and park and shoot, and we don't have to worry about license and permits and all that shit. And I was like, well, come on over to my house, man. Will's got it all ripped apart. You walk through the front door, drywall's missing and everything. So they came and shot that whole intro to that show at Will's house.
Where was Will's house at the time?
It was the one that's right above the Barber Boulevard. There's kind of like a busy street down below and a couple stairs that look like you can't quite tell where it goes.
In Portland, right?
In Portland, yeah. It used to be the steepest street in Portland, and they shut it down.
When did Will Bennis live in Portland?
He moved in 91, and he lived there until like 93. So he was there for like 3 or 4 years.
He was there before grad school.
Yeah, right. Yes, before grad school. In fact,
because then he was out here.
He went to BU, and he was like, "This is crazy. This is just a party school. This is not really serious. This isn't a great school." And he saw me out here, and he was like, "Oh, I want to go to Reed. Oh, that's cool. I'll check out Reed." And so while he was waiting to get into Reed, he went and took some courses at PSU, did some courses and all that stuff, then got into Reed and went to Reed and was like, PSU is even better than Reed. PSU is like the big generic college in Oregon.
Right. I have a project there at their Lincoln Hall, at their at their theater auditorium on campus.
Did you have a couple places that you did stuff in Oregon? Because I thought you were doing one too, where you traveled somewhere from Portland.
What was the park bitch thing too?
Oh, that was in Manhattan Beach.
Oh,
that was Susanna Rosenthal that put that together with the city of Manhattan Beach, and they hired a bunch of creative artists. They wanted to get like the community excited about stuff and kind of bring in that thing. And it just so happened that Ben actually bid on some of it, so it was kind of cool. I think he did a bench and everything. It was cool.
Yeah, I did one bench. Portland. No, I don't have anything else in Oregon. I started to do something at Oregon State, and then they never followed up about it. I don't think they liked what I was throwing down. So that project ended. I remember feeling really awkward working with them. I just didn't have any kind of good inspiration at the time, but interesting. I had forgotten that Will lived there, and so he graduated from PSU.
Yeah, and then he went to Chicago and for his graduate stuff.
But I thought he went to SC too. USC.
USC. His dad was a professor at USC.
That's right.
Warren. He's notorious. In fact, I'm working on a job now where the theologist in the group actually writes books and stuff based on Warren's stuff because he grew up with Warren.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting that the twists and turns. That's one of the things that's so interesting about growing up in Aspen is it's all these weird twists where you bump into people and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm connected to this person,"
Right.
Hi, this is Growing Up Aspen. Glad you enjoyed that last little blast, and I hope you stick around for a few more. We want to, the authors of Growing Up Aspen, Adventures of the Unsupervised would like to thank you and ask you to, if you're interested, you can check out our book at twistandturnpress.com, or any local bookstore can order our book. So we will talk to you soon and hear more from some of our friends. Thanks.